Hello and welcome to our New Mexico History Intersession course. My name is Brandon Morgan and I am the instructor for this course. You'll be seeing videos of me here and there all over the class. Hopefully that will help provide some added guideposts for what you need to be doing as far as the coursework, as far as thinking more deeply about New Mexico history and the study of history in general, and about completing this course successfully. Hopefully that's where we will all be in 2 weeks. I will introduce myself on the discussion board to give you more about my background. But in this screencast, I want to just walk you through our class here in MyCNM, or not MyCNM, I'm sorry, in CNM Learn or Blackboard. So this should be what you will see when you log into the course. Should look very familiar. If you found this video, you probably already clicked the Start Here button. Notice on the front page, there's just a reminder to check announcements. I do post announcements every few days for the intersession, so keep tabs on those. This is just to remind you that we'll be using Twitter, what our course hashtag is for Twitter, and then you can check your grades here from the front. Please do go through everything in the Start Here module. So I will be posting, this is an old video here that will appear. I'll be posting this one shortly. Go through the Start Here module. I'm not going to go ahead and click on it and walk through it now because most of what it contains is just reference material. I said that like it's not important. It's important stuff. You should understand what is there so that you can go back to it whenever you might need it. There's information, for example, about resources and help for distance learning classes at CNM. There's another link to the syllabus in there. There's a reminder about my office hours, the course objectives, a video on plagiarism, and there is also a collection of tutorials for the things like Twitter, Tiki-Taki, and Adobe Spark that we will be using during this intersession course. So if you need any of those things, know that here is where you will find them. Of course, the syllabus contains the syllabus. There's a link to it here. There's also a link to our discussion board requirements and netiquette. Netiquette is essentially your behavior in an online environment, in an online course. Hopefully all of that will be fairly straightforward, and the journal instructions here. All of that is linked to from the syllabus and from these other areas of course content. But I just want you to have at your fingertips various places where you can access important documents for the course. Please do click on the Instructor Information tab. That gives you some information about me, my contact info, as well as my educational background. But it also includes the late policy, what I expect from you in the course, and what you can expect from me. I do answer email within 24 hours, pretty much no matter what during the intersession. I try to be quicker than that as much as I can. But during the intersession, I know we're only together for 2 weeks. This is intensive, and I'm in the thick of it with you. So that said, I do want to point out that I tend to work in the morning hours, and I know that many of us tend to work in the evening or late evening, late night hours. I don't work at that time, but I will answer you in the morning. So just be aware of that. I will get back to you quicker than 24 hours, but it may be that you're working in the evening and I respond to you in the morning, that sort of thing. There's a quick reference to the course schedule that's also in the syllabus, and the Blackboard calendar if that's a resource that you like to use. The most important things to keep tabs on for this class for understanding what you need to read and watch and do for your assignments are the syllabus and the learning modules. So I'm going to click on the learning modules. If you go through all of these learning modules and just walk through all of the steps there, you will be able to understand everything that you need to complete. There's a checklist at the beginning of each learning module. I also have introduction videos at the beginning of each learning module. At the end of each learning module, there's a self-assessment and looking ahead section. So that reminds you the checklist, once again, these are the things you should have done during this module, and here's what's coming up. I'm going to click on Unit 2 because Unit 1 is a little different than the typical learning module for the course. Units 2 through 6 are essentially the same in terms of the organization of them. You can navigate through them using the table of contents or these little arrows up here. Each intro contains a kind of typed introduction to the major themes and events that we'll be talking about during that unit. Each unit lasts for 2 days. And so here's that list I was telling you about. By the end of the first day, these are the things you need to have completed. By the end of the second day, these things. And then there's the objectives and that intro video. You'll notice these are old. You'll understand why I shaved my head if you look at these videos. I do have the goal of re-recording them, and I hope that that will be able to happen right ahead of you watching them, but that might not be the case. I'll do my best. So the second thing in each of these learning modules are the readings. The required readings are always the 3 that are listed there. There's a lot, so you will need to skim judiciously. Skimming is okay. That's a skill you should learn in college, kind of learn how to get the main ideas out of the chapters that you need to read and comment on those. Optional readings always listed there. And then these questions, there will always be questions there. These are to help you as you read, just so you can think more deeply about the material that you'll be engaging with. You don't have to do anything with these in terms of, there's no assignment on those questions. Here are the film clips. That's the next thing in each of these learning modules. And this note is very important. Watch as many of these as you can, but I understand that you won't be able to watch all of them. They're meant as supplements to help you better understand the readings and to kind of give other added perspectives, but there are a lot of them and they're long sometimes. So as I scroll down just to show you, we cover a lot of ground necessarily because we're supposed to go from the peopling of the Americas all the way to the present in New Mexico history. So again, just as many of these as you can watch. This one has an additional FYI, so I won't look at that. But the reading tweets, this is an element of the unit that will always be there. Usually this loads a widget. Whether or not it loads is not that important. This is just to remind you to go to Twitter and complete your reading tweets. If you have questions about what that means, you can click there to see the assignment. You can find the assignment in the syllabus, or you can go over here to course content to find the assignment guidelines. Same thing with the timeline submissions. Please do note that you need to choose a topic, and you can read the timeline instructions to see what that entails in terms of what I mean by topic. But you need to choose a topic that fits within the kind of chronological confines of the unit. So for example, for Unit 2, we will be studying the earliest people in New Mexico, the area that is today New Mexico, up through the 1st century of Spanish colonization, so up through the Pueblo Revolt. So anything within that time frame, it's a huge time frame, is fair game for the timeline. Unit 3, the timeline, or the chronology will be a bit more compressed, so you'll just be looking essentially at the 1700s. But pay attention to what fits for you. This one will take you to the area where you could write and submit your journal entry. There are instructions for that in the syllabus, and when you click to launch there will be a link at the top that will have the instructions for that assignment as well. And here is the self-assessment and looking ahead section that I mentioned. So here's the checklist again and upcoming dates for other assignments that are due, specifically the discussions. Those are not included in the regular assignments that you do for each learning module, and the final project. So all of the learning modules are essentially the same in that regard. That's how you walk through them. If you leave one and you want to come back, you leave the learning module and you want to work on your timeline, you go and put your placeholder on Tiki-Taki and you're writing your work, and then you want to submit it, but you don't want to go back through the whole learning module to get there, you can just click on the timeline tab under course content. As you'll notice, there are lots of tutorials and things that you need to pay attention to here to help you with this assignment. There's another mention of historical significance and what that means. And then as you get down here, if you're working on Unit 3, for example, you would click there. If you want to submit your ID step, click here, and there you go. This is where you'll attach that file. You could have gotten to the same place via the learning module, but again, I just wanted to show you there are multiple ways of doing things. Also, pay attention to announcements, as I already said. This is where you'll access online office hours. I do that through Blackboard Collaborate. Nobody usually uses those. I am there the first few days especially, but if I find that nobody's logging on, I tend not to log on. So if you get there and you want to talk to me online office hours, those are 9 to 10 every morning. Send me a text or an email or a tweet, and I will get on there and talk to you that way, if I happen to not be there. Same thing with Blackboard IM. I tend not to use it that much because no one uses it anymore. If that's something you would like to use, let me know, and I'll turn mine on. Here's another place for you to check your grades. You can use this to email me, or you can also just use your regular way of accessing your CNM email account. All of this stuff is reference material and help resources from the Distance Learning Department. There's good stuff there. If you have questions, check these out. This is all about the kind of technical issues that you might have, except for CNM libraries. Use that one to help you with the final project, doing your research, and so on. Okay, so there's a lot here. I don't have the kind of upcoming elements of the class closed until a certain date. Everything's open, so you can work ahead if you'd like. If you do so, make sure that you go back and respond accordingly on the timeline at the correct date. That should be self-apparent. If you have questions, please let me know. And I've said this elsewhere, but I do want to point out that I recognize that we're using a lot of probably new and unique online tools for this course. I am more than happy to help you out with those. So whenever you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. There's no question that I don't mind helping out with. So please ask, because if you don't, I don't know that you need help. All right, welcome to the class, and I look forward to a great couple of weeks.